Hello and welcome back to another video here in the LEGO room. I hope you are well. A couple of weeks ago I covered the adjustments to the skiff and pit set from last year, and I actually teased in that video my next MOC / diorama, and you'll be able to maybe see a whole bunch of sand coloured pieces behind me, so no question about which planet this particular diorama MOC will be on. I also teased this, which is of course the escape pod from about 10 years ago now, and it kind of works as a little display piece on its own, but I actually want to give it the diorama MOC treatment that I've been giving to a lot of these older sets over the last couple of weeks and months in 2025, and I've got an idea in my mind's eye of how I want this to look. I want to basically put a plate down with some sand pieces as well as this, and of course we'll get R2 and C3PO out to create that iconic scene, of course, where they're walking out from the escape pod at the very start of A New Hope. Let's have a little look at what it's going to look like. Again, if you don't want to see the process and the trial and error and all the little mistakes that I might make throughout, do skip ahead to the very end to see the finished article. And for those that are more interested in seeing the process and a little bit of dialogue from me about that, then just make sure you stay tuned, and I'm sure we're going to have a lot of fun along the way.
And as you can see straight off the bat, we aren't using a black base plate and trim. This time we're using a grey, dark bluish grey brick trim with plate, and it gets the same idea across as the video goes on. I'm not particularly thrilled at the fact that it isn't black. I think the black just looks a lot cleaner and obviously synonymous with the diorama series. What I did try to do, because I knew the amount of sand that was going to be in this, was look at a couple of sand dioramas and ones that I'd created myself, including obviously this one from last year, not one of my own creations, but just to get a rough idea of how I wanted to texture the sand. And this is of course one that I did a couple of months ago, Qui-Gon and Maul with the fight for Anakin, and I thought that I'd textured this one pretty well. And as you can see, we started to put the base of the sand together with some of the darker sand going under where the escape pod would go. And as time goes on in this video, you'll see that I am starting to work on the very back corner, by which I would use to create a mountainous or sandy hill texture that I could prop the escape pod up on and allow it to look as though it has crashed into the dunes of the Tatooine sand. And it did take a lot of work. One thing I also needed to do was grab C3PO and R2D2 and put them on a snot plate and just allow them to look like they're in motion on a diagonal rather than having them stood in the side and attached to the very base of the plate. And you can see in the back corner there, I'm starting to now work on the mountainous terrain and also having it look textured, whilst also making it sort of economical and having a way of holding that escape pod upright, so it does look like it's crashed, but it's also keeping it stable, which was quite tricky to do, to be honest, to get both the look and the efficiency of it being held upright without it slipping or sliding off.
So it's the next day now, and I have done quite a lot. Hopefully I've captured most of it on time lapse, and I'm at that weird stage, particularly with sand, where I'm trying to work out what is a good way to texture it and what is overkill, and I've tried to get it right in a few different MOCs that we've done, and I'm sort of dancing on the line of it almost being complete. So hopefully the next shot that you see will be the complete version of my escape pod diorama MOC.
And there you go, the finished article, or as finished as it's going to look for now. I think I would probably replate this and have it on a black trim. It would just in keep with the rest of the series that I've been doing. Of course, the series that you can already go out and get there, the diorama series. I think the black just looks a little bit better, but it will do for now. Let me talk you through what is there. You've got some textured sand going downhill where C3PO and R2D2 are, and there is slight mountainous terrain in the backdrop in the right corner. In the left hand corner, you can see a lot of the mountainous terrain. You can see a lot of different levels of texture, a lot of different textured bricks, some open studs and some smoothed off plate as well. And then in the very corner, you can see some of the darker plate, basically to create the shadow that would be created by the escape pod in there. I'm pretty pleased with the way it's angled. It looks as though it's crashed to a certain degree. I wanted to have it upright with the thrusters in the air rather than the other way around. I thought that was the most sort of accurate way. It also displays it the best as far as I'm concerned. It's time to get it on the shelf along with all the other diorama MOCs that I've created this year alone, which you can see the 332nd there, the Jewel of the Fates diorama as I've dubbed it, and then the Fight for Anakin as well, which is a smaller one, which I still really like. And then underneath it you can see this newest model, the Escape Pod diorama. If you've enjoyed this video, please do give it a like. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it to this point in the video, stay tuned because we're going to have a ton of Lego Star Wars on the channel, including more MOCs and dioramas over the coming weeks and months. Take care.